Alright, welcome back to Adventures in Adventuring. I'm JD, the DM, and if you like what you see, please make sure and subscribe and leave comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Also make sure you like the videos that you enjoy, and I will try to, as we continue adventuring, I'll try to make more adventures, stories for you. So when we last left our group, they were just resting after coming out of the trap room. There's a dragon outside digging at the door, trying to get into this room. They take a brief rest here, and Ariante studies his spells. Arisa's healing her wounds. And the dragon is starting to chip away at the door, and they can hear it outside, and they're safe for an hour or so, but then they can, really hear this dragon trying to get in at them. So they figure, they're trapped in this building, they better figure something out and get a move on. So they decide not to go down in the pit, but the door to the left they investigate. And this is another perfectly square room. It's medium size. It's about 40 feet across. And the floor of the room is marked with a grid of 5 foot by 5 foot squares. And it's got a green floor to it with these black lines that make this grid on the floor. And there's a flat round disc, and it's hovering about 3 feet from the floor, and it's white. It's about this thick. It's just a stone disc, and it's hovering over one of these squares. And it's on the second square on to the left, closest to the door that they entered. And across the room on the wall, there's painted a group of letters, and it says LR, LR, UDB. And so they're like, okay, so that's probably like left, right, something like that. And they start to figure it out. And as they're doing so, Gerald can see inscribed just in the door frame, somebody has scratched F equals forward. They look across and there's no F. And just underneath that, it says R is not reverse. I'm like, okay. So Sombria and Ariante are like, we've got this, we know what this is. So they slide the disc to the left 1 space, which puts it directly in the corner. And then they slide it right 1 space. And then they slide it left a space. And as they slide it left, these spouts pop out of the wall and fire shoots into the room. And so they take a little bit of damage, not a whole lot. They're putting out the fires on their clothes, and like, well, that wasn't it. Okay, so they try again. The pedestal, the disc, gets reset in the center of the room, and they go left 1 space, and then right all the way across the room. And then left all the way across the room. And then right all the way across the room. So now it's in the far right corner. And at this point they stop and like, F is forward, but it's not, but this is a U. And so instead of going all the way forward, they just go 1 space forward. And they cringe and they're like, oh, this is it. And I let go. And the trap doesn't spring. Like, okay, so U is up one space. And D is down? Something just doesn't seem right about that. It puts it... Because they know that B... They can't figure out what B is. And so they're thinking about, well, B is probably... If R is not reversed, then B is probably back. So they think about it, and they've got a 50-50 chance here. They go, D could be down or it could be diagonal. And there's only one way to move diagonally, so they move it diagonally across the room. All the way across. And they take their hands off the disc, brace themselves, and they got it right. It was diagonal. And I think R is not reversed, so B has got to be back. Now, do they move back one space, or do they move back all the way to the back of the room? Well, again, they flip a coin, take their chances, and they move it back. All the way back to the wall. And as they do so, a door opens on the other side of the room. And they go through the door, and the room is full of piles of treasure. Gems and gold, and they found this dragon's treasure, or the treasure of the fort. And so Gerald's a little bit excited. He's like, yeah, I got all this gold now. Now I'm rich. Ariante's got, like, I've got a kingdom. And Sangrea's like, yeah, I've got a kingdom too. And so they're like, okay, well, we'll leave the gold for now. And let's go check out this last room, because we didn't come here for gold. We came here to defeat this, remove this curse. So as they walk into the main foyer area, they can see that the dragon has burrowed quite a large hole through the porch that was against the door. And he's snarling, and he can see one eye peeking through. Ah, I'm coming for you. And they dart across the room and go into the door on the other side. And they're like, oh man, we've got to get this figured out. We're about to get wiped out by this dragon. So they go into this other room, and this other room is dark. There's curtains, black curtains hanging from the walls, and there's piles of bodies lying around on the edges of the room. And the torchlight is casting shadows all around, and there's a table in the center of the room, and they can see that there's grooves cut in the table, and the table's all covered with blood. And they're like, oh no, it's a sacrificial table. We're not alone. There's somebody else here. And as they're looking around, this dark figure steps out of the shadow. He goes, I've been waiting for you. And another voice from behind it says, yes, my brother, these are the adventures I sent to you. And she steps forward into the light, and it's the lovely young lady that was in the house at the beginning of the swamp. And they're like, oh, we're going to get you. And as she steps into the light, and this lovely form just starts to dissolve away, and she is this hideous green hag. Her arms elongate, her fingers stretch, her teeth fall out. And the party was like, we're not going to wait. We're going to take the first attack. So they spring forward. Orisa springs forward, goes into a rage. In midair, she takes her battle axe and she lifts it up. And the tall, dark figure says, Avufka! Or some magical word like that. And a wave hits and a thunder shocks through the room. And a wave hits them, knocking them back. And the hag's fingers turn into these white darts and shoot from her hand. And they hit Orisa. And Orisa takes hold, like these 4 darts in her. Oh, she's mad now. So she runs back the others are stunned and they're blinded. She takes her battle axe and just starts slashing at the wizard. And the wizard is blocking it with magic, blocking each attack. Finally, one of her attacks gets through, and he's knocked back. As he knocks back against the table, his skin kind of pales and goes kind of a blue, and his face kind of deforms a little bit, and they can tell that he's not quite human. And Arisa kicks him, and he falls back against the table, and he takes his axe and he comes down, boom, right through his shoulder. The axe is embedded in his shoulder. As he rips the axe out, the wizard rolls backwards off the table and says, "Not this time, not this time." And he grabs a torch and he pulls it, and the wall spins, and the guy goes out of view. The hag turns, and she looks at him, and she's like, "I will be back." She waves her hand, and she disappears. And as she does, the torches in the room go out. And they can hear the dragon outside roaring. What is happening?" They hear him turn, and they run out to the foyer and look out the door, and they see the dragon spread his wings and fly off. So they crawl their way out of the building through the hole that the dragon has torn, and they see that the courtyard, the mud in the courtyard is gone, and the water has receded down to the ground level. And they can see that the wall is starting to sparkle and shine, and it's lost that dimness, and the mist has gone away. And they go out, they walk out from the wall, and they see that the swamp has receded, and now there's these trees growing up, and the trees are sprouting these beautiful leaves, and the forest is returning. And they can see all sorts of monsters flying away from through the trees. They spring up out of the trees, and the monsters are flying out and away, and they have healed the land of this curse. And with that, we will end our adventure for today, and we will be back next week with another adventure. Again, please like and subscribe, and I will continue to do these if I get enough views. Thank you. Bye-bye.